All right, so this effect right here is 51, the invert and average rings. Now, what does filter 51 here do? It looks like it makes a grid of inverting the pixels, and then inside of each one of those grid cells, it lines it with an average. There's like these rings that are averages, right? Like if we go do this, right, and we go like 605, and we kind of zoom in here, right? It made this ring. It made these rings that are within these negative regions, right? So if we use 51 here. Right, that's pretty cool right there. I kind of like that. Let's do that again. Let's go zoom in with 605 here. Okay, so 51 is ooh, that's not what I want to do. Whatever. Let's just keep on doing this. Okay, let's not get distracted. Okay, so 51. Let's go look at what 52 does. Okay, 52 here. Okay, so 52 is the glass block filter, and it's a displacement filter where we divide the cell, I believe, into like we sample 3 by 3. Okay, we take a cell. How does this work? Oh my. I believe there's some downscaling going on. But we like. How does that work? Let's go reset it. Okay, 52 I know is the glass block filter. I forget exactly how it works. I believe it is dividing the image into cells, and then what it's doing is it's sampling, it's taking the current cell it's on, and it's looking to the left, to the right, to the top, to the bottom, and kitty corner, and it's taking all 8 of those samples, and then it's shoving them back into the center, or is it taking just the kitty corner samples and putting them into, oh man, I don't actually know. I don't know exactly how it works. I know it's dividing the image into cells, and then it's sampling from adjacent cells, downsizing those samples, and packing them into whatever cell you're currently in. And it creates this glass block effect. And that effect has been designed to like wrap around the canvas, right? Okay, let's go on to 53 here. Okay, 53 is, I believe, pixel column shuffle. Okay, so it's just dividing the image into columns that are 1 pixel thick, and it's shifting the odd columns in one direction and the even columns in the other direction, right? And this is shifting left. Now, if we shift right, it's going to do the exact opposite. So if the odd columns were going right earlier, now they're going left. If the even columns were going left, now they're going right? So that way you can put it back together if you want to, right? So 54, 55 is probably, wait, hold on. So we did 52, glass block filter, right? Okay, we did 51, which is this grid of negative, and then lining each one of those grid cells is like an average value ring, right? Okay, and then 53 is this kind of dividing into pixel rows and shifting in one direction, and then 54 is doing it in the other direction, so we can put it back together. Okay, so 55 right here is those same kind of pixel rows. Sorry, this is actually pixel rows, right? The other one was pixel columns. 55 and 56 is pixel rows, right? So you can shift it and put it back together, right? Okay, let's go on to 57. Okay, that's not 57. 57. I'm doing a horrible job here. 57 right here. What does it say? It says kitty corner alpha code. Okay, so it has the word alpha in it, which means that it might not actually do anything unless we have transparency in the image. We'll have to go look that up in the source code. Okay, so 58 right here. So this is actually like a debug filter that's just testing the font stamper by, I believe it stamps a font, and the font is filled in with the average value of the color around the pixels that it's replacing, right? And it gets this kind of interesting painterly effect, right? Okay, so 59, what do we got for 59? Okay, so 59, so it says map via A, and there's a 1. Okay, so I'm not actually sure what this does. It looks like a gradient ramp filter that is similar to 4, right? Here's 4. And the gradient ramp filter that was, what was that, 59? Is that 59 here? I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I'm noticing it's not looping around. So whatever calculation this does, it has no, it's already hit like a homeostasis point, right? Where like if I keep on doing 59, right, I'm not sure what that is, but I wonder what would happen if we did like 4 and then we mix 59 into it, right? and then we did 4, and then we like mixed another 59 in it. What if we do 59 one more time? Okay, still at a homeostasis point. 4. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably so with, this is my guess. So 4 is the it's the range between the positive and negative of the pixel, and it's been absolute valued, which means that all these pixels are kind of like high key, or they're above 0.0, so they're on the bright side of the spectrum, right? So you know how like if you use 4 over and over again, you'll eventually loop back, right? But even though you loop back, you never get back to the original image, because since we absolute valued stuff, we lost some information, right? So if we absolute value it, what would happen if we absolute valued it and then we made it negative, right? So I'm guessing this, actually, no, I'm not sure. That right there, okay, that right there, does that look similar to if we were to do like 4 and then a negative? Nope, that's not the same. So I'm not sure what 59 is doing. It is some type of, it looks like some type of gradient ramp filter, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's do 60. Let's do 60 because we want to go up to 60. Okay, so 60 looks very similar. This almost looks like the dark version of whatever 59 is, right? Okay, so we got to go look at the source code for some of this stuff, right? Because we've kind of messed around and we've kind of forgotten what some of the stuff is, right? So what we want to do now is we want to pull up the source code and we want to figure out what this stuff does and write some documentation for it, right? So the way we can find the source code for this is we go Control F and we go F PHOSIMP, and the first thing we're going to look at is filter 51. So we're going to go 051, and we're just going to search for that filter entry point. So let's just go search for that. Okay, so we see the invert and average rings right here, and we see it's filter 51 here. And this is what we want to look for. We want to look for where that function is declared. And we find it right here. And we see that we have another commentary above this 51. It says square overlay average value. And I'm seeing that 50 and 51 are related, right? Because they both use a 50-51 function. So when I write a function like this, it means that this is a function that basically has two modes. So the first mode, enumerated as 0, is for filter 50. The second mode here is the second enumeration that makes this function act as filter 51, right? So this is a filter that can act as filter 50 for this filter 50, or it can act as filter 51 for this filter 51, right? So we do want to know what this enumeration does, because that means that filter 50 and 51 are related, right? So if we go, let's close this other program for a second. Okay, so we have a little bit more CPU space here. Okay, we're gonna move this over here, and then let's go look at that for a second. Okay, so we looked at 50, right? Okay, and 50 doesn't make anything negative. Okay, and then 51 does make something negative first. Okay, got ya. I see. So they're very similar. It's just that 51 also like adds a negative grid in addition to making the rings, right? So 50 makes the rings, these average rings, which you can't really see too well. If we zoom in with 65, we might be able to see them. If we put a gradient ramp, the rings might kind of pop out a little bit more. You can kind of see those rings that we made right there. Okay, so I kind of get that. Let's mess around with this a little bit, right? Make something cool. Let's use that 51 again, right? Let's put that grid back on. Let's go blur that. Let's go blur that a bit, right? Let's blur that in the other direction. Okay, let's put a gradient ramp back on that. Okay. Let's do, I don't know. Want to do the glass block filter, which was, what, 52, right? 52 is the glass block filter. Okay, let's put that 50 back on, and then put a gradient ramp on top of that. Okay, that's looking kind of chaotic. Let's smooth it out with 377, and then let's put like a little blur there, and put a gradient ramp. And then, I don't know, let's do like a random blur that I don't know what it is, whatever this is. It's 585, okay. And let's do an auto-tiling filter of, I don't know, 6.7 for the memes. And I really hate that auto-tiling filter, actually. Let's do 1111 to bring back some symmetry after we kind of corrupted that with the distortion auto-tile filter. Let's do A42 for the memes again. And, you know what, we got to stop doing things for the memes because it's just fucking wrecking stuff, right? Okay, let's do that 52 again, put that grid on top. That's the glass block filter. I want 51. Put that glass block filter back on. Do that one more time. One more time. Okay, let's interlace the pixels. Okay, let's put a gradient ramp on that. Okay, let's do a 300 on top of that because we always do 300. And then actually, why don't we just stop right there? Because I'm kind of liking this, right? Like, we got this weird kind of corrupted pattern. I like this texture. It's a pretty cool texture, right? So what I'm going to do now is, before I continue with this video, right, I'm going to stash this pattern and it's going to go into my new software. In fact, we can show you that process right now. So if we look at the logs for PHOSIMP, so we're going to move this over here, right? We have the buttons I pressed. This was me panning around. And then we started whenever it said R for reset, right? So all these numbers here, I'm going to take them. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to put the console back over somewhere else. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to paste that recipe in here. And the thing is that we can't go over 64, right? So we have less than 64 steps. Okay. I'm going to clean this up and get rid of these kind of things here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a recipe. So I'm going to go File, I'm going to go Save As, and we're going to go to the desktop, and we're going to go and Delete Me. And then we're going to say recipe whatever dot txt, right? We'll just save it as recipe whatever dot txt. And then what we want to do is we're actually going to close. We're going to close that, and we're going to go open up the PhoFace statically linked, the new application I'm working on, right? Okay. We're going to put that over here. And Jesus Christ, come on. We're going to put that over here, and we're going to try to load this recipe somewhere, right? So first of all, we have to do is we have to find something that's shit, right? So I don't know if 50 is complete shit, but let's hit 50 and see if 50 is complete shit. That looked kind of cool at the beginning, and then it looked like crap, right? 50 might be okay, right? 50 actually looks pretty good. We might want to check in the source code, because the source code might illuminate us as to what is supposed to be shit and what is not supposed to be shit. So if we go look for the source code for PhoFace in this C11 file right here, okay, somewhere in here are our recipes. So we have these recipe tags. That might be what I'm looking for. It might not be though. Oh yeah, this is the recipe tags. Okay. So here we're kind of like, you see we have like 50 and 51 already have like a name. That tells me that I already claimed them, that I thought that, I thought that it had something good there, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to main, and it looks like 52 is not claimed, right? So 52 here, we're going to try 52. And we're just going to see like, hey, do we get anything that looks cool? Because we probably just injected some random numbers in here. But you never know, we might actually get something cool. And if it looks cool enough, we'll keep it. If it looks like crappity crap, we won't, right? So this looks kind of interesting. Like, it looks kind of interesting. We might want to keep it, right? I kind of like it. It's foggy scan lines. We could keep it. So what we could do is we could say, you know what? I kind of like 52, right? I kind of like 52. It may have been generated with random numbers, but it looks good enough. So foggy scan lines, random crap, right? Foggy scan lines, random crap, because it was generated randomly as far as I know. All right. And now that we have that, we're going to take this 52 right here, right? And we're going to go find 52. Oh, actually 52 does not look random. This looks very intentional because we got like these spaces in here and whatnot. So I don't think this is random. I think that this was actually probably something that was intentionally planned out, right? So, okay. So that does give me a vote of confidence to be like, oh, I'm not just like being attached to some randomly generated bullshit. Like I actually hand-tailored this one. Okay. Foggy bullshit was actually hand-tailored. Okay, so we don't have much room to write that, so we'll say foggy shit hand-tailored. We'll call it foggy shit hand-tailored, right here. This is just a little tip for me, right? And then we'll go over here, and you know, we'll change what we said here. Foggy scanline, handmade crap. We don't have much room. We're going over our column limit right now, so we'll call it Oh, we can just do like handmade crap, and then that is right at our column limit. Okay, that's the this is the maximum number of characters. Also, Jesus Christ, we accidentally injected an E in there. So our code's not going to compile because what the hell? Did I like accidentally paste? I probably did accidentally paste it. Okay, so 52 gets to stay. Okay, 52 gets to stay, so we're going to go on to 53. 53 looks like it also may have been hand-tailored. And I'm seeing something that looks pretty cool, so this may have been hand-tailored, right? So we may want to keep this, right? I'm liking this. I'm actually liking what I'm seeing right here. So we might have to keep this. So let's just see what happens here. Okay, yeah, that's pretty badass. Okay, so now the question is, okay, that's pretty bad, but if I load a different image, right? If I load a different image, can I still get something badass, right? So let's load Dr. Girlfriend in here, and that was 53. Let's use 53 again, because here's the thing, like, sometimes these recipes will need a little bit of color correction so that we can manage the chaos of what's going on here, because, right, like, this kind of looks like it turned black pretty quickly, and I'm not sure we're actually ever going to get something back, right? Like, we may not get anything back. Okay, that's way too dark. So for something like that, and that was 53. 53, I think, may have been hand-designed, but it's kind of crappity crap. Oh, looks like I overwrote 53 with something already. Let's see what's in 53. Let's go run this customization 53. Okay. So this customization 53, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this customization 53, oh, that's pretty dark and scary. All right. Let's go back and let's go export this. Let's go desktop. Let's go delete me. Let's say filter whatever .o2.txt. I gotta change how this saves because it thinks I'm saving a PNG file, but I'm not. I'm saving a text file. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go factory reset this, factory reset, and then I'm going to run this again, and it's going to be kind of it's going to be the recipe that is embedded into the software. And what I'm seeing here is that we need some type of tone mapping filter, right? Like, I think that there needs to be some tone mapping, and honestly, I forget which numbers we're tone mapping, but we can go look in the source code for it, right? So, in Kanji Coder PHOSIMP, we're working on documentation, and the tone mapping is, these are the tone mapping, 1,290, okay. And then, like, that is 1,290 all the way to the original, the first one was, where is it? Lum scan range fixer, oh, and then those 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th. Visible spectrum pole. Okay, so 1,281. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, here's kind of the end of the recipe. I'm just going to try, like, right at the end here, right at the end. So I have some timing to see it. 1,281, we're just going to plug that in right there. And we're just going to run this and see if that is enough of a step to just pull something out of this, right? Because even though it looks kind of black, there could be something of interest kind of hiding in there. If not, we may have to color correct it earlier on to pull something out of here, right? Like, that is, I'm not really liking that, right? So we really should make like a pause button. So let's go export this. And what are we on? We're on, I forget. I'm gonna hit cancel. Oh, it's gonna crash on me. That was what? It was in Foface, and we were looking at 53, right? 53 has this here. And what I'm saying is that we should probably go 1,280, right? That was the filter. Yeah, 1,281. Okay, 1,281. And then it looks like we need some color correction, and we have these spaces between things. So we might be able to get away with just this. We might be able to just down the line do something like this. And that may or may not be enough, right? So now we have to kind of recompile. And so I'm going to go right click and I'm going to go open containing folder and Explorer here right now. And then once we have the source code right here, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go get bash here. We're going to go open up a terminal to compile this. And hopefully it's not broken, right? Let's do /ls. I don't know what the build script is called. /phosface. Oh my god, non-strict.sh. That other one is a very long thing to write. Okay. So if we run this, we can kind of see, oh, that's the actual executable. We don't want to run the executable. We want to build it and run a new executable. So that green thing up here is going to be the executable we're making from this build script. So it hasn't given me a compiler error, so I think it is actually compiling. And then we want to try out filter 52, and we just want to see what happens to it. Okay, so now filter, so we already know that this image that we start with looks good, right? So, oh no, it doesn't, right? It doesn't. It looks good with the default PHOSIMP image, but it doesn't look good with this image. And that's 52, so we gotta go back. Okay, that's 52 right there. Okay, so the question is, those little color correction steps, are they gonna make this look less shitty? And did I use the correct... Oh, that was the wrong filter. That was the wrong filter. God damn it. Why did foggy shit hand tailored? That's, never mind. Okay. We made a mistake there. This one was actually okay. I'm gonna put the zeros here. That one was okay. That's not where we wanted to do it. We wanted to do it here. So we're gonna take this. We're gonna reorder these. I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna put it down here at the end. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna get like blank spots here. Okay. And then I'm gonna take this one right here. And I'm going to put it up here like that. And then I'm going to, I'm going to see if we can just put the 1,281. Is it 1,281? Let's go look at that again. 1,281, yeah. So we're going to try 1,281 here, here, and here like that. And then here, right? Just down the line like that. And then we're going to have to recompile this because we were on 53 because 52 actually looks pretty good. That was not the one I wanted to mess with. So let's see what's going on here. So the idea is that like as I'm working on this, I want to make sure that I feel like this is not the best. We may just want to move on from here and say like this needs some fixing, but I don't know. Let's do it. Okay, so 52. So 52. Oh no, 53. God damn it. 53. Why do I keep getting stuck on 52? Because that's the thing I named last, and I'm like, oh yeah, 52. No, we want to work on 53 because 52 looks acceptable, right? Okay, but then 53 looked good for one image, but then it didn't look good for other image. Okay, so with this image, it looked good, but then like with other images, it didn't, right? Because it was like too dark. Okay, so we added some color correction. So now I'm seeing that there's kind of like this kind of red background. There's kind of, it's brighter now, which I'm not really a fan of, right? But that doesn't look too bad. Like that looks kind of interesting. There's like this interesting ribbing pattern now. Okay, so the question is, if we load, it was Dr. Girlfriend we were using earlier. Let's just load something. Let's not worry about exactly what it is. Oh, okay. So 53. It was 53. So we added some color correction, and we just want to make sure that if we use this with something else, that we still get something kind of interesting back, right? Because if we don't, then we want to fix that. Uh-huh. Oh, that actually looks pretty cool. The color correction is kind of whiting stuff out a little bit, but it is like a really cool, there is a really cool pattern though, right? Okay, so we want to load one more thing. I don't know why the fuck we're here. Oh, because the other picker file, sr get PHOSIMP vid001, I think is where that was. And there's like a doctor girlfriend set, and we use this one. And this one just looks shitty, right? So the question is, if we use 53 now, does it look shitty, or have we brightened it up so that we can actually see something that looks of interest to us, right? And the idea is, like, once we test it with enough images and we still get something interesting, then we just call it a day, right? This might not, I don't know. I mean, we got something there. It's better than last time, At least there's something there, right? I'll call that done. Okay, so let's look at 54. Let's look at 54 and see what 54 is looking like here. Okay, so 54 actually looks pretty cool. 54 looks pretty cool. We do want to, like, load a different image, though. Load a different image and just make sure that we still get something that looks cool, right? And then if 54 still looks cool, we'll move on to something else, right? But 54 looks kind of cool. And while we're waiting for that, right, let's put this over here, right? So 53, I'm going to call this a bit too much 1281 fixing, because the 1281 kind of fixed it to make sure that it's more consistently interesting, but it did kind of like make things a little bit blown out and too like soft. But it's better than getting a black screen, right? So we'll go over here and we'll say 53. Okay. A bit too much. And this is, I know that's a weird name, but, you know, we just got to give it a name, right? So that is 53. Okay, and this is 54 right here, right? Yeah, it says 54. 54 looks all right. So 54 here. I don't know if it's 240, 311, but it looks like it's been using filter 240 and 311. So this is 54 here. Okay. We're going to grab onto this, and we can actually see if it's 240 and 311. There's a 137. Okay, here's a 311. Oh, maybe there's no 240 in it. It looks like it would have 240, but... Nope, it's just... Okay. Oh, wait. That's 53. We're supposed to be looking at 54. 311. 240. We're right. Okay, yeah, I'm right. Okay. So that's R54. Another 240. Okay. So now it looks okay though, right? It looks okay, so we'll keep it in our little recipe book, right? 54. Okay, let's go back to main. We're gonna go to 55 now. And we're just gonna see what 55 looks like, right? And if 55 looks good, we'll try it with something else. So there's some radial symmetry, which is kind of concerning because, oh, I actually like that. That's like a little windmill. I kind of like that. Okay. So, but we want to load something else. Let's go load this. Let's try it with like 3 different things. Okay, and that is, we're on to 55 now. Okay, so we're gonna use 55 again. And we just want to see like, hey, can we get kind of consistently interesting output, or do we sometimes get like black bullshit, right? Okay, so that still looks interesting. Okay, let's go load. I lost the default image that I was using. How are we gonna find? Actually, we could go sr get
PHOSIMP. We could go into the PHOSIMP source code because I believe I have in the C source code in images or somewhere, or assets hex somewhere. There's probably like everything else. Nope, Blood Ninja. Image, it could be an image, which would kind of make sense. Nope, not in there. Possibly random internet girl. Yeah, let's use that right there. Okay, so let's, and we're on 55? Yeah, so we're gonna use 55 on this, and then just see if that works out, like if that still looks cool. If it still looks cool for this, I'll say, you know what? It passed the test of looking cool for enough things to where we'll say, yeah, we're gonna keep this one, right? And so that was 55, and I'm just gonna say, if you so if you're lucky, you get like a windmill, right? Like you saw, like we made this kind of windmill with it. It does. Not all image inputs are going to get that, but I saw a little windmill, so I'm going to say, you know what? We'll keep that. Okay. So right here, we're going to say 055. Okay, so that's too long. So I'm going to say, if you are IYA there we go, got windmill, right? Because if you are lucky, you get a windmill, GA windmill. Whatever, it doesn't have to make sense, right? It just has to be a unique token to just like, really these display names right here are just stating to myself that I looked at it, I liked it, I approved it, and I kind of signed off on it. That's kind of how I'm thinking that. Okay, so that 55, we like it, right? This also looks hand designed, so we're going to go through that. We're going to go back to main, and so that's 56. Let's go look at 56. See if we like it. And then if we like it, we'll try it with like one more image just to make sure that it's consistently good, because this system is kind of chaotic. Everything is kind of bright. This is definitely a pattern where I think sometimes things can get too dark. So I'm going to go load something else. And I'm going to go, let's take random internet girl. Copy, desktop, delete me. Let's paste it there. That way we have it right here. Okay, let's try this cat again. And then let's go, it is, wait, 56 is, hold on. Were we doing 56? Is 56 all, am I losing my mind? Oh, 56 was, okay. So, okay, we'll do 56 again, but 56 is already pre-approved. I got back to here, I see, okay. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, 57, okay. So we want to go on to 57. Okay, 57, we're going to take a look at that. Okay, so it's making a whole bunch of purple, and I'm not liking that. Okay, let's load this, and that was 57. Okay, while we're looking at that, while we're doing that, let's go look at the source code for 57, right? So is 57 completely random bullshit? I don't think it's random bullshit. It looks like 57 was probably hand-tailored, but 57 is going to look better or worse depending on what kind of stuff we used, huh? Because that actually looks pretty cool, right? I kind of like that right there, right? Like some inputs look good, some inputs don't, right?
So do we want to try to move some stuff around here? Right, take this and put this on the bottom, right? Take this one, put that here, and then take this one right here, put it right here, right? And then we can try to put those 1280s in there and just see if we can... I don't really think this color correction is the best. Okay, or we could do like a... We could put like a 4. Okay, so that is 57 right there. And we use this default face. Okay, let's recompile. And let's see if we like what we have for 57, right? And I think we got to be more organized when we do this. And as we're making cool things, we have to just take the time to like put this in the software, right? Because like, meh. Okay, so we're gonna go 57. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna go find that 57. And we know that now what we've done could make things look worse. Like they could be like too light and blown out. But we just want to say, hey, does it look cool still, right? And what I'm seeing here actually still kind of looks pretty cool. I just really care if it looks cool, right? And it looks pretty cool, right? It looks a little bit worse. Okay, let's go load this now. And then that was 57. And we just want to say to ourselves, like, hey, does it look cool still? Does it look cool? Does it look worse? You know? Okay, so I feel like that gradient ramp we added in maybe was a little bit too much. We're going to go customize. And that's 57. And 57 looks like it already has a customization, so we might want to like... I kind of like this 57 here in the customization. And I know I hand-tailored this one. Let's go export this 57. 57 dot txt. Okay. So I'm going to go into the file system. And we're going to find in my desktop, we have that 57.txt. Let's go open that up. I kind of like this because I know I hand-tailored it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 57 and I'm going to go here. I'm going to say this 57, you know, it was, I'm just not quite feeling it. So yeah, I think, do we just want to keep on nuking things? I'm gonna... Okay, so inside of PhoFace, notes, assets. Okay, just in case some of this stuff is interesting and we want to like come back to it. So that was nuked 57, right? We had 57, we decided to nuke it and replace it, okay? So I'm going to save that right there. And then, nope. we'll just try to like keep track of stuff, right? Like, you know, in case like we're running out of inspiration one day, we can. Oh, I gotta pause. Okay, I'm back. I think what we need is a random visible spectrum poll command that we can use when we make our future videos so that the outputs are more consistently not vanishing into the outside of the visible spectrum. But for now, let's just get some numbers embedded in here. So for this is 57. I'm going to say, we're going to go boom, 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 boom like that. And then we're going to take these. Right. Okay. And then we're going to try to recompile that. So that's 57 right there. And I kind of already lost track of the thing that we made that we thought was cool, right? I do want to like make sure that we have that though. So I know we made like recipe whatevers, and yeah, we need some notes here. Let's go into kanji coder PHOSIMP here for a second. Let's put some breakpoints there. Put you over there. To do. Okay, so random visipole. Okay. Okay. Something like that. Okay, so now this is the C version. There's also like a JavaScript version of this code. So I am going to take this note here, and I am going to find the JavaScript. I'm going to put it in there as well. So it looks like I have this other tab open here. Oh, God. C code. Okay, the JavaScript is over here. Here's the JavaScript, right? We're going to go down in the JavaScript, and we're going to put that note in the JavaScript as well. Okay, and then we have that note down here as well. So we have to go back to the C code version, and we have this note as well. So then we're going to go back to the JavaScript version, and we're going to put that here. This is actually a lot faster when I'm actually working on it, because I'm actually working on like 4 different monitors. So even though it looked very cumbersome and slow, it was much faster when I'm actually working. Okay, so we want to go back to fauxface.c11. We were kind of fucking around here with 57. Okay, so we're going to go back, and we're going to find 57, right? And we're going to say, hey, does that look good, right? And I like that, right? That 57, I'm good with that. Okay. 57 is now taken care of, right? So if we go into fauxface.c11, do I want to reload it? Oh boy, ooh, oh, I'm scared now. We have it open in 2, yes. Okay, so we have it open in 2 different fucking files, which is not a good thing. Okay, 57 here. Okay, Control F, go look for it. Okay, here's 57. It looks correct. We're going to close this, right? Save new file. No, we're not going to say that. Okay. We're only going to have one text editor open, right? So that we don't screw... That could really screw us over, right? So I'm going to call this 57 blue carpet made... I know, like, I made it when I was filming videos yesterday for PHOSIMP, so whatever. I'll call it that. Blue carpet filming made yesterday, okay? So now we're going to go find this. We're going to say this is T_057. Blue carpet made yesterday, right? And then R057. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next slot. Okay, so 57, and there's 58 right here. Now 58, ooh, that kind of looks cool. I kind of like that. 58 looks kind of cool, but 58 may have a override as well. So we're going to go to customize, and I see there's also a 58 override, right? So we're going to run this override. We're going to see if that override looks cool, right? So we may have like two things that we like, right? I like this more. The 58 override was probably more intentionally designed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go load another image. And these two images tend to like one, if it's not well designed, then one of them will look cool, the other one will look like shit. So if it looks good for both, then we'll call it good. Yeah, I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is that we're on 5.8. We kind of liked this, but we liked the other one, and we need to... If we try to save everything too hard and try to shuffle things around too much as we're designing these things, we're going to end up working very slowly, right? So what we're going to do, right, is we're going to take that one that we kind of liked, right? And we're going to save it, and that's nuked 58, right? And then one day, if we're really running out of inspiration and we want to make something, we can look at the things that we nuked and try to re-implement them. And then after we've re-implemented them and put them in here, then we'll delete them from the nuked list now that they're in the source code. But we need to say, you know what? Nope, I'm not for that. Let's close that. Let's go back to phoface.c11. So 58 here, we're going to nuke it because when we look at 58 here, right, we like this 58 more, right? So since we like this 58 more, we're going to go back and we are going to go hit export on that 58. I'm going to call this 58.txt, save it, and then we are going to go file open, find that 58 in the desktop, I believe. We saved it to the desktop. Here's our 58.txt. The recipe whatevers, one of these we made during this video, we want to put it back in, but first we need to find an empty slot, right? So I'm keep on going here until I find an empty slot so we can get that one thing in. And I know that like we're supposed to be explaining the filters, but the thing is that I know that this video is only going to be watched by like 10 people, right? So I do want to do like a work session while I do this so that I'm not completely wasting my time, right? Because like, unfortunately, I hate to say it, right? But if I did everything that people asked me, it would sabotage my life, right? I'm not joking. And I know that sounds really mean to say that, you know, my fans are asking that I do these things for them, but they don't realize that the things they're asking me to do because, oh, I'd really like this thing, would financially ruin me, and I want to eat, right? I know that sounds really mean, but I'm dead serious that, like, if I were to spend most of my time just making these documentation videos that people are begging me for, then, you know, no one's really going to watch them even though people were begging for them. And then I don't make any money because I should have been like making viral videos for Instagram so that more people would have bought my software, right? And that's very similar to like how, to get a little bit too political, it's kind of very similar to the whole like phenomenon with like social justice warriors begging for like ugly people in video games, but they're not going to play your video game after you put ugly people in it. So you're just asking people who aren't playing your shit to like, you know what I mean? It's not quite the same, but it's similar, right? Because the people beg me for documentation, and then if I do it, they don't really watch the videos, right? Okay, so we got 58 here. We're like an hour in. We're like in 50 minutes in. No one's gonna fucking watch this, so we don't gotta worry too much about saying offensive stuff, because if you have the patience to get this far, you're probably not easily offended, right? Because somebody who actually pays attention and is studious, I believe, this is just my belief, I could be wrong, somebody who pays attention and is studious is less reactionary, right? Because to be reactionary is to really be a lazy motherfucker is what it is, right? Okay, so 58 here. We're gonna go find 58. 58's right here. Okay, we're gonna run it. It looks like that one pattern that we liked. All right, cool. Okay, so now we're gonna go mark this. I'm gonna say R058. So I think I made this. This was from one of the videos that got me banned on TikTok. So I'll say Mandela of TikTok ban. That's what I'll call it. Okay. So now let's go find 58 here. 058. Okay, that's the Mandela of TikTok ban. Okay, that is R058. Okay. So now we're going to grab onto this little token right here. We're going to go back here. Okay, so 59 is the next thing we want. So we're going to go find 59. Here's 59. We're going to run it. And it looks like it may have been hand designed, right? We may have something that looks kind of cool. I kind of like that, right? I kind of like that. That looks like it's hand designed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to load something else. We're going to load this because these two images, they tend to conflict with each other, where if one makes a cool thing, the other one does not make a cool thing. And I'm okay if it looks stupid as long as it doesn't look like completely black. And it doesn't look completely black, so I'm going to sign off on this 59 here. And I'm going to say R059, R059, apparently hand designed, right? Okay. And once again, I know these names don't really make the most sense, but I don't care, right? I'm really just keeping this as a little ledger to keep track of like which slots have meaningful data and which have just random ass numbers. Because the way I originally wrote this is I wanted to stub everything in really quick, and so I put random numbers and stuff. Okay, so 59 also has like an override. Let's go look at that override, because that override might actually be pretty badass. God damn it, there's so many slots that I have like stuff that actually look pretty cool, don't I? Yeah, it might actually look pretty badass. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, it looks pretty fucking badass. I'm liking it. Okay. Yeah, I like that, and let's go back and let's go load a different image. And then it was in customize, it was that 59. Okay, yeah, I like 59 too. God damn it. I think what we're gonna do, I think the quickest way to take care of this, right? Because that looks pretty cool, right? That override looks cool. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna export it, and we're gonna go find srgit PHOSIMP, and we're gonna go into not PHOSIMP, PHOFace. We're gonna go into our notes. We're gonna go lost recipes. And we're on 59, so I'm going to call it nuked.0 059.txt, right? This one's going to get obliterated. We're going to forget about it, right? So nuked59.txt, we're going to go save that. Okay, so now that's backed up, okay? And we're on to like 60 here, okay? So we're going to go back to main, and 60 over here looks like it may have been hand designed, and it looks like there's also an override slot for it, right? So if whatever is in here looks good enough, then we'll use it. Okay, that looks kind of interesting. I like that little glowing piece. I'm going to guess that it's one of these things that'll probably look really cool with some stuff and kind of lame with other stuff, but I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't become completely black, right? So that's 60, okay. So let's run 60 on this and see how it looks. And if it looks completely trash, then... Okay, I kind of really like that. I kind of like what we're seeing there. Okay, so I'm going to say that... Okay, so that's R060. If you look hard, you can see neon face. If you look hard, you can see neon face. That's 60. Okay, so what we're going to do here, let's go back to main here. Okay, so we're going to go, so there is an override for that, right? So what we're going to do, because the quickest thing would be not to recompile, right? So if you look hard, neon face. Okay. And this is R60. Okay, so now we have to go look at the override. So we're going to go into the customization menu, and we're going to go look at 60 here, right? 60 looks like there was something hand designed, right? So we're going to run this, and we know we had a neon face for the default 60. What is... Okay, yeah, that looks pretty cool, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back, and we're going to go export that. And we're going to go srget PHOSIMP. We're going to go into... it's not PHOSIMP, goddammit. PHOFace. We're going to go into PHOFace. We're going to go find our notes. We're going to go into lost recipes, and we're going to say nuked.060.txt. Okay, we're going to save that. Okay, so now that one is backed up, but we want to move on, right? So we're going to go back, and we're going to say, okay, 60 was after 60. It's 61. Okay. So 61, we're going to look at it, and if we like it, we're going to keep it and name it. And then if we don't like it, we can use the hand-tailored thing, right? So 61 looks like it may have been hand-tailored. Okay, that looks kind of cool. And if we load something else in, right? If we load something else in, right, just test it with something else. Let's use this. Okay. So now let's go. That was 61. So 61 is right here. Yeah, we're gonna run with something else, and we're gonna say, hey, do we still have something cool? Do we get a black screen, right? And oh, that's actually kind of cool there, right there. I kind of like that. Okay, so we get something still kind of cool. Okay. Now, before I say that we're done, though, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna recompile because I really want the two images that I usually test with. I kind of just don't have available to me right now. So I know that, oh god, we fucked this up? Oh yeah, that's right, we can't do a 0 like that. Okay, so let's go back for a second. I'm being a dumbass. So 0, whatever, how did we fuck this up? None of these should have, okay. Fuck, oh boy, okay, that's okay. So we can't 0 pad stuff like that, right? But if we're lucky, which we're probably not. If we're lucky, we could make macros like this. And you know what? I don't think we have macros like this. Right? We have a whole bunch of goddamn number macros, but I don't think we have these number macros, right? Because then we wouldn't have to worry about like this, right? We can just fuck. I don't want to deal, you know what? I don't want to make any fucking number macros right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to be lazy. Yeah, we're going to put a plus sign in front of these 2-digit numbers just so that we can keep everything kind of centered, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's 50s, and okay, there we go. Okay, so now let's try to compile this again. So that means some of those were actually the wrong indexes because they were actually octal numbers. They weren't the numbers that I thought they were, but whatever, okay. So compile this, and then we're looking at 61 now, right? But with 61, we want to try it with the default image that the software comes with, but I want to save the default image off to the hard disk first so that I can reload it later if I want to switch back to it, right? So now I'm going to go save the default image, and I'm just going to save it gm.png. Save that. Okay, look at the console for a second. Someone came up here that was like kind of concerning. Where are you? Okay, no, that's just debug logging. We're good. Okay, so let's put this over on this side of the screen, and we wanted 61, so 61 is right here. Okay, so we're doing 61. If this looks good, if this doesn't look like complete shit, right? If it doesn't look like completely black, I really like that kind of animation too. I think that's really cool. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I like this. This is good enough. There's some cool texture in there. So 61 is approved, right? So okay, and we're gonna say R061, right? It's approved, and then we're gonna go grab onto this 60 here, and we're gonna go find this 61. Right, I really, like, I'm dead serious that I really don't care what these are, right? I just use this to mark it and say, okay, we're good there, right? Okay, so we know that we had a customization for 61, so let's look at this customization for 61 and see if we like it, right? And if we like it, we're gonna put it in that nuked folder. Okay, so that's complete noise. Ain't like, what the, whoa, how, okay, all right, okay, okay, that's pretty badass. Okay, I like that. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and we're gonna load this thing because usually these two images, if one looks good, the other one will look bad, right? If we haven't designed it very carefully, one will look good and one will look bad. So, okay, this is, yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. That trips me up. I like how it's like static and then it's like, and then something pops up again. I'm loving that. Oh, that's nice. That is beautiful. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit export, and we're gonna go sr get PHOSIMP faux face, right? We're gonna go into the notes, lost recipes, and nuked.061. Okay, .txt. We're gonna go save that. Okay, cool. So once we find a whole bunch of empty slots, right? Because now these slots are empty, right? So we can start making stuff, right? But we have to make sure that there isn't something interesting there already, because it looks like even though there's no override, it looks like we still have like interesting stuff, right? So I'm just kind of cataloging stuff, and yeah, I'm cataloging. Okay, so 62 here. Okay, 62 here. Okay, there's kind of this embossing effect, which I'm like, maybe, maybe not. Putting it back together. That is pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. I kind of like that. Okay, so 62. We're going to go load that other image, and we're just going to make sure that it looks good with both, right? So that was 62. And if it does look good, so recipe is 062. Say ma'am. Okay, so this 62 here, we're gonna say 62 here, Okay, that's a little bit too long. So we say, creep face looking good, ma'am. Okay. Okay, so 62, looking good. Okay, so now 63. Let's go back to main. In customization, does 62 have an override? No, it doesn't. Okay, back to main menu. Okay, so now we're on to 63. Let's do 63. 63 may have been hand designed as well, right? So let's see what we got. Okay, so we got some kind of, ooh, that's kind of interesting pattern. It's kind of faded, but it's acceptable, right? So the next thing is if we do it with another image, right? So that's 63 here. Okay, we just want to make sure that if we use it with two images, that one of them doesn't end up like extremely black or something, right? Okay, yeah. So you know what? I'm okay with what we got there. So, faded key I don't know, faded key Mandela squares grid, right? Because everything's kind of faded in there. And then we'll go grab onto this. And we'll go, so that is 63. Faded key Mandela squares. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna, I have to pick up my roommate in almost 40 minutes. So, we're gonna have to somehow move on from doing this busy work, right? I do wanna explain all the filters still, right? So we're gonna have to go into here where we're kind of like making these recipe whatevers. We had these recipe whatevers that looked like they were kind of cool. We're going to have to take them, and we're going to have to cut them, and we're going to have to go find, let's close this, we don't need this open anymore. srget PHOSIMP PHOFace. Okay, and then we're going to go into notes, lost recipes. Okay, we're going to go paste, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take these out of here after we've done them. And somewhere I had notes from like yesterday, right? Where I had like vidnotes.txt and I had like all these recipes in here. Let's start to extract these, okay, into separate files and put them in lost recipes, right? So that we'll get to them eventually, right? Because if we don't organize these, we're going to lose track of them, right? So I'm going to take this, cut, file, new, and then it's ooh, it's a little bit, okay, well that's we can take off some of this scrolling and it'll be fine. So if we take off some of this scrolling, then we're at 64. Okay, that's fine. It might be a little bit offset because we'll probably scroll in a weird number of times, or we just take off all the scrolling together, right? No scrolling, right? Because we probably scrolled all the way around, knowing how I do things, right? And then we'll take this, we'll take these numbers, right? And then we'll go save that, and we'll go srget PHOFace notes, right? I was in PHOFace notes, lost recipes. Okay, recording session recipe, whatever, right? Close this nuked file. Here's our vid notes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, cut that from there, go into this here, we're going to delete all this. I don't have a control A because I accidentally nuke things with control A, so I don't allow myself to use it. We're going to delete all this stuff here. We're going to look at how many, okay, so we have under 64. So we're going to go File, we're going to hit Save As, and this is going to be recording session recipe 2. These are like recipes that I made during a recording session, right? I'm going to go through here. This is another recording session. So like when I'm doing my Instagram videos and making psychedelic stuff, I've been starting to save what I've been doing so that I have these presets that we can put into the new game, right? So now we're going to paste that there. it's exactly 64. Okay, and that, okay. So now we're gonna go File, we're gonna go Save As, and recording session 3 recipe. Okay, now we're going to go back to our video notes. So the thing is that if we import and re-export these, the numbers will be sanitized into a format that will be easier to put into the source code. So that's why I want to put them in their own separate files, because I don't want to have to manually format all of this and then put it into my source code, right? So in order to avoid manually formatting, we can do a little bit of manual formatting here, and then let our export-import code sanitize the data, right? Okay, so we're going to File, we're going to Save As, and this is recording session 4 right here. Okay, 4. Okay, go back to video notes. We made this in a video. Take it. Okay, and we're going to go back over here. We're going to go take that, paste that, go over here, nuke that stuff, and okay, yeah. File, okay, Save As. This right here, we're gonna put a 5 there. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our video notes. You can see this is just busy work. I am gonna review the filters at the end of the video. If you wanna just scroll to the end of the video, right? I will try to do that. Okay, File, Save As. Okay, this is a 6. I guess I could pause the recording and hope my computer doesn't crash, right? I could do that. Okay, paste that. Okay. Okay, File, Save As. 7, save. Okay, go back over here. Oh, okay, I stitched these together and I put 33s in the middle. Okay, sure, whatever. That means this is probably going to be like exactly 64. Yep, exactly 64. Okay. And then we can just do this still. Okay, cool. That's fine. That should still work. That data will be sanitized. Okay. File. We're going to go Save As. And this is recipe number 8. I do 10 recipes per video, so I imagine there's going to be like 2 more things left in here. Okay, we're going to cut that. We're going to go back over here. We're going to override all this. We're going to paste that new recipe. We're going to clean this up just a little bit. And then File, we're going to go Save As. Recording session 9. Okay, and then we're going to go back into our video notes. Oh, we have more stuff. Okay, whatever. So we're going to cut that. We're going to go into here. We're going to paste that. We're going to clean it up. Okay, File, Save As. Recording session 10. Save it. Then we're going to go over here. Got some more stuff. Okay, take that, cut it out of there, go back over here, overwrite that, clean it up. You get the process, right? I know this isn't the most entertaining video, but like I said, I don't think anyone's really going to watch these videos. So I'm kind of like using this as a time clock to be like, hey, there's this minimum wage job that pays like the horrible $13 an hour. Okay, well maybe I should just record a work session, make sure that I'm working enough before I say, oh, I just can't make money at this, so I'm going to go get a stupid job. Or we believe in ourselves and we just put the hours in, right? Okay, this is too much, but we see that these kind of scroll, and this kind of scrolls, so we can just get rid of all the scroll. And now it's under 64. We're going to go File, we're going to go Save As, and this is going to be recipe 12. Save that. Okay, we're going to go back to our video notes, and we have, Jesus Christ, there's a lot in here. I mean, that's good because designing these can be difficult. Or not difficult, it's time-consuming to design these. So we want to salvage the things that we designed in videos so that we have less work for ourselves. File, Save As, and that means that things that you've seen on my Instagram channel or my other demo videos, you'll be able to use them, right? Okay, 13, save that. Okay, going back. Okay, I feel like I'm gaslighting myself, like I'm not actually cutting things. No, I'm cutting things. There's just a lot of stuff. Okay, we're gonna paste that in there. We're gonna clean this up. We're gonna make sure it's under 64. We're going to go File. We're going to go Save As. We're going to go 14 here. Okay. Now we're going to go back, and we're going to take this one. And then we're going to go over here. We're going to delete that. We're going to paste this. If we find one under 16, well, we'll worry about that when we get to it. One thing at a time. Okay, so this is under 64. File, Save As. So there's two sets of recipes. There are 16 and 64-step recipes. And I'm trying to make it so that the 16-step recipes are designed for like doing things to pictures of faces. And then the 64-step recipes are more complicated and tend to distort the image more and tend to be for making mandalas. Okay, Save As. Okay. So that'll be 16. Okay, and then we'll go back over here. Mandela-looking recipe, okay. Paste that. So this one is 16, but it looks like a mandala. And I think that's why I kind of made the note, because I might accidentally put this in the wrong category. Perfection is the enemy of progress, so let's not worry about if we accidentally have some filters in the wrong bucket. Let's not worry about that too much. Okay, let's cut this. Let's go over here. Let's paste it. Delete that. Okay. File. We're going to go Save As. And this is 18 now. Okay, we gotta, oh my god. So, we definitely need like a faster way to get this work done. Because this is like, the thing is that, you know, even though you're a programmer and you can automate stuff, if you try to automate everything, you'll never get anything done because you'll always be spending time trying to automate something, right? So let's not. Sometimes you just have to put the work in. Sometimes you actually have to do actual work, right? You try to automate things to get out of work, but at some point you actually have to do work, right? That's what it comes down to sometimes. And I wish that, you know, maybe I just suck, right? Maybe I'm just not a good programmer, and good programmers can automate everything and are super more efficient than me, right? Maybe. But they ain't making PHOSIMP. They aren't making what I'm making. So they're not my competition. Maybe there's a thing where like the level of inefficiency I have is somehow correlated to the level of creativity I have, and you can't have one without the other, where it's like you want to be super efficient and be creative, but you can't have both, right? You don't get to do that. I do think that could really be a thing, right? I don't know for sure. This is just my crackpot hypothesis, right? Holy shit, there's a lot. You know, I got really drunk last night, didn't I? And I recorded like 20 videos, didn't I? So yeah, we made these new like dither filters and stuff. We made some cool stuff. And maybe I got a little ambitious because like I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make faux face, and it's gonna have 50, sorry, not 50. It's gonna have 300 different presets before we release it, right? Maybe that was a little ambitious. Now, the reason I decided I wanted 300 presets is because we made a page system, right? Where we have like pages of recipes. And for me, I just feel like, oh, we want to flip between pages, right? Well, the minimum number of pages we're going to need to show off that feature of being able to swap through pages is we're going to need 3, right? We don't want to forward and back. We want 3 pages, right? Because if we have 3 pages, then we can start on the middle page, right? The program can open up in the middle page, and then the back button and forward button that move through the pages, those buttons will actually do something the first time they're clicked. And because of that, I'm like, okay, the minimum we need in pages is 3. And the way we've designed it, there's 100 recipes per page. So the minimum for like releasing this software for the first time, the minimum number of recipes is going to be 300. That's how I came to that number. It wasn't completely arbitrary. It's a somewhat ambitious number, but I want to deliver something of quality, right? That's like, oh my god, 300 recipes, and it's only 99 cents. That means that 3 recipes for $1, right? That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, so anyways, this is our last one, so let's put that there. Clean that up. And then we're going to go File. We're going to go Save As. And, okay, so then eventually in another work session, we're going to take these and we're going to clean them up, put them in the source code, and then delete them from our repo so that we don't lose track. Because we're making a whole bunch of cool stuff and saving the notes all over the fucking place, and we're losing track. And we don't want to accidentally like put the same recipe in in 2 different slots, right? Okay, so we have that. We have that taken care of. And we want to, first of all, before we move on, let's absolutely just make sure that our software still compiles, right? Because we've been fucking around. Let's make sure that face still compiles. And then we're going to go over filters 51 to 60. But we're going to go through that source code again, and we're going to make sure that we understand kind of how stuff works. And write some notes. We're going to write some actual documentation notes for it. And I think I'm going to try to write all the documentation up to 60 before we kind of continue with our lives. Okay, so that is still running. Okay, so PHOSIMP.js. We want to go open up. I like to work on the C code first. So we're going to go open, and we're going to go find the C version. And we're going to go find kanji coder phosimp.c. Okay. We're going to go language and change the language to our little syntax highlighting that we use for like all of them. And then we have too many sections. Like, which section belongs to the top? Is it the version? Actually, version I feel like belongs at the top. This is kind of important. About is kind of important. There's a lot of important things. Documentation, I decided to put at the top because documentation is what I'm kind of currently working on. We can always move it around later, right? So filter 0, filter 1, filter 2, filter 3. And then we kind of like skipped out on documentation for other stuff, right? So I think that as much as this is going to make the video more convoluted, that we're not going to end the video until we get all the documentation up to what we're on right now, which is 51 to 60. So we want to get all the documentation for everything, right? So faux face we can close. We're not going to use faux face right now. So Control C here. Let's go clear. Get status. Let's go get status. Ooh, goddamn. I did not type that correctly. I hate it when I type something incorrectly because what happens is it activates all my hard drives, right? So, like, if you type a command wrong and it can't find it, it'll activate, like, all your hard drives and, like, search all your fucking hard drives to see if that command exists, like, somewhere else. And then it lags, right? Because your hard drives have to wake up if you have a crappy, energy-efficient hard drive. Okay. So, get status. Okay, we're gonna go git add dot. We really shouldn't be adding the exe to the repo, but too late. Git commit dot m recipe stashing for embedding later. Something like that is what we're doing. Okay, all these recipes, you can see them right there. Git push git lab master. We're gonna push that up to the master branch. And then we can close faux face. Okay, close that. All right, so it looks like filter 4 is the next thing we want to document. And usually what I like to do, when I actually code on 2 different monitors. So usually what I have is I have 2 big vertical monitors. And the C source code is on my left, and the JavaScript is on the right. But here we see that is the case right now, but it's not a full monitor, right? But it's nice that I can split screen things, right? It's nice that, like, it works for split screen, but that's not why I did it that way. The column limit is not because of split screen. The column limit is because it's vertical code. So we see this right here. Let's go get to the same place in both files. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to copy paste. And then I'm going to nuke the center, and I'm going to put a 4. And then over here, same deal. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. I'm gonna nuke the center, and I'm gonna put a 4. The reason I did it twice like this is because the syntax, right, is slightly different between these two files, right? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I have to figure out, well, what does filter 4 do? And to figure out what filter 4 does, we gotta go open up PHOSIMP and compile it or do whatever we need to do, right? So I see my PHOSIMP terminal here. I got this. We'll put like this over here or something like that. Actually, we'll put this one. Which file am I going to edit first? I'm going to edit this file first. So I'm going to put this here. So that will so when we compile this, we'll open up PHOSIMP on the right. We'll look at what 4 is, which I actually kind of already know what 4 is, so we won't do that. Negative range filter. Okay. I feel like maybe I shouldn't. Let's make sure that the let's make sure that these are paired correctly. And maybe this is making things harder on us than it should be. No, we could do something like that. Okay, so then with this commentary, right, we're going to take the guts of this commentary right here, and we're going to go, here is 4 here in the, this is the C code version, right? And we're just going to move this up. And there is like a lot of duplicate work here where it's like, oh, you're going to cut paste there, cut paste there. Bro, haven't you heard of transpilation? Yes, I have heard of transpilation, but we're not going to do it. How's it going?
It's going. Romney's calling.
Oh, Romney's calling? Okay, hold on. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he called you, didn't pick up?
No, I didn't know if I was allowed to answer your phone.
Just pick up. Just pick up.
No, I know.
All right. Let's see. Let's go Control S. As long as you're not like intentionally snooping through my phone, I don't care.
Oh, no. I didn't do that. Not my phone.
Yep. Now we wait. Put him on speaker. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing we did earlier, and we're gonna cut paste. We're gonna nuke the inside, right? So we're gonna just nuke the inside right here. And then I just realized that this is wrong. We need to get rid of this comma
The wireless
here.
customer you are calling
and this
is
comma
not
here.
available. Please try again later.
Okay, well that's the thing. Okay. So we'll just plug in our phone up here, but like, it does not charge very well, and I hear it keeps on disconnecting and reconnecting. I'm gonna be very annoyed. Okay, so this is filter 5 now, right? Filter 5, and then let's copy paste. Yeah, filter. Oh god. Okay, copy paste, and we're gonna get rid of this right here, and filter 5 right here. Okay, so filter 5, filter 5. Okay, what does filter 5 do? Well, we can go look at the code, right? Okay, here's this. Okay, filter 5. Okay, channel splitter. Okay, this is the reverse of that channel splitter, by the way. Okay, that's good. We know what that is. So over here, asymmetric channel splitter RGBA component. Should we just like do this where we have these lined up nicely? I think we should. Wonder how many. Yeah, because then if we do that, that'll, yeah. RGBA component. Asymmetric channel splitter, RGBA component. Extracted. Of, right? So it's, all, red. So like top left, so we'll call it quad. Quad top left, all red components put here, right? Right. Boom, 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 because there's 4 of them, right? There's top left, there's top right, there's bottom left, and there's bottom right, right? All the red, all the green, all the blue, and all the alpha, right? Right, that makes sense. Okay, so now we're gonna go look at the source code here, right? This is 5 as well. Oh, my phone's ringing again. Suicide hotline, how may I help you?
Hey, I don't know exactly what would be the best time to actually, like...
You're on speaker now. You're on speaker. Don't say anything incriminating. Okay, what the best time for what?
No, I get out of here at 6:15, but the faux place closes at like 7, and it's in Ann Arbor Saline.
Oh, it's in Ann Arbor Saline.
Yeah, it's like right there next to the Dick's. You know, it's
So
like right
basically,
there.
it depends. Do you want to be that asshole who comes in right before they close? That's really
I
what it...
don't. That's the thing. I don't want them to shit in my pho, you know?
Okay, well, that's the, well, if you don't want to do that, then that decision is made, right? So then we don't do it, okay?
Yeah, but then now I still want to get something to eat, but
There's
I
a
don't know what.
Japanese place.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah,
Japanese
but
place
Echo's like right there.
might still be open, right? Yeah, because they're right next to it. There's like Japanese and Korean right there as well. So like one of them will probably be open.
Yeah, what was that place you went with, that one chick was like Yotsuba or something like that?
Oh,
or Yoshi?
the Japanese place I went. Yeah, it was the Japanese place. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, with Pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went with Pearl, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's good. Went there with my grandma too and my stepmom, so it's a good place. Oh my god, there's an extra fucking. Oh no, it's not. Okay. Gotta make sure the stuff compiles. I'm working on some source code. I'm working on some documentation videos that no one's ever is gonna watch, but I kind of turn it into like a work session so that even though nobody watches it, it's kind of like a time clock. Like, I do that same thing with, like, Twitch, where it's like, oh, you streamed this many hours this week, and I just use it as a way to know that I worked that many hours. I should start streaming again, even though, like, I'm not gonna, like, what do you call it? I know I'm not gonna become a famous streamer doing it, but it can keep me productive.
Say hi again, yeah.
You know,
fist bump?
keep me off Pornhub, you know. Get me, gotta stay off of those distractions, you know, what am I allowed to say on the internet? I don't know, like, I don't know how, like, with, like, this, because it's a very long YouTube video, if, like, YouTube is gonna scan for the bad words this far in and be like, oh, you said a naughty naughty thing during a technical thing, blah, 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 and then my YouTube channel gets banned, so I better start watching my mouth, because this is gonna end up, because there's other things I want to say, but I'm like, and it's like, and then people are like, oh, you want to post your stuff to Rumble because of censorship? Oh, you're a conservative shill. Oh, maybe I just want to... Is there anything conservative about saying I want to get my D sucked without, like, having to, like, say D, right? There's nothing fucking conservative about that, right? Like, just talking in a very plain way, just talking in a very plain, uncensored way that you would, like, do at a bar... You can't do that on YouTube. You're gonna get your channel banned. Yeah, maybe I don't want to fucking do that all the time, you know? Anyways.
Yeah, very true.
So...
Sure.
Anyways, whatever. People on the internet are idiots, and most of the people you're arguing with are probably like 13-year-olds, so maybe you should just stop and not talk to 13-year-olds. Don't talk to 13-year-olds on the internet. That's a good rule for everybody, not just pedophiles. Like, everybody can see... Like, I'm not even allowed to say that word, right? I'm supposed to say PDF. Like, whatever.
Yeah, it's really funny, yeah.
Anyways.
Or like, you know, like in Minecraft type stuff, you know?
In Minecraft. Yeah, in Minecraft, in a video game. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, I guess I'll start driving at 6 to come get you or whatnot. And then I'll pause this recording, and I'll just hope to God that my computer doesn't crash by the time I come back to record more of this, I guess. Yeah.
What is, Caitlin still there?
Yeah, she's still here. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can tag along.
Alright, I'll bring her. Inverse of asymmetric channel splitter filter.
Oh yeah.
6 is inverse of 5. This merges things back together.
Those shoes are incredible.
If you use
I
filter
really like those.
5, then 6, you will get back the original image. If you use 6, then 5, I have no fucking clue what is happening.
You're paying with this? Yeah, you don't scan them. That's one thing that I do myself on accident. It's all good.
Alright, we better say ducking in the documentation, because I do want this to be like an E for everyone game. And if my documentation has swear words in it, Steam might come down on me. So
Maybe,
let's not do that for now, get rid of that extra space. I'm kind of like how that looks. Get rid of that extra space there. And then we can go boom, 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 boom. That looks good there like that. Alright, so I'm gonna
get off here soon.
Come get you at 6, you get me gas, we go to Dick's, and then whatever happens, happens. Alright.
Sounds great, yeah.
Alright.
Gas, then we head over to Dick's, and then, yeah.
Alright, sounds good.
Absolutely.
Alright, later.
Later.
All right, so 7 here. We'll have to go look at what 7 is. So we'll kind of gut this, and then we will go over here, and we will gut this as well. And then we'll put a 7 on here, right? So we got a 7 and a 7, and then we go look at our code, right? We go reset this for a second, and we go 7. And we're rotating anti-clockwise. Okay, easy enough, right? Don't really need a complicated explanation for that, right? So we're gonna say anti-clockwise okay, so we probably can't say bitch in our documentation because E for everyone once again. So we'll just say get rotated ditch, right? And that obviously stands for bitch. Okay, so now that we have this documentation right here, we're gonna shove that documentation here. And the next one is probably rotating in the other direction, right? So let's go to 8. Yeah, it's rotating clockwise. Yeah, of course. I say of course, but that's not always the case. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna copy this, we're gonna paste this, and we're gonna say just clockwise. Right? Clockwise rotation of image by 45 degrees. Period. Get rotated ditch. I hope. Okay, maybe that's too much. Maybe that's too much. See, sometimes you can say stuff that's not quite PG-13 or E for everyone without using swear words. But like, there is a little bit of hypocrisy with like the words you use because like sometimes. Like, I remember being in high school and they don't let you say these bad words. So, like, I was all like, okay. So I can't say fuck, but I can just tell somebody to go die in a fire. All right. Whatever. You got some weird fucking rules. But that's kind of... So, rules don't make sense, but that's culture, right? Like, when you have rules that make no sense, that's basically culture, right? Culture is just these rules that we never fucking question, right? Culture is... what you accept without questioning once you hit 25, right? The prefrontal cortex is, I guess, designed to develop really slowly so that you can handle the hypocrisy of whatever culture you're born into, because culture just, culture evolves much more quickly than our genetics. That's what it's for. Now you know. Or maybe you think I'm full of bullshit, you know? I'm not a neuroscientist, you know? Maybe you shouldn't listen to me. Maybe you should listen to somebody else who knows what they're talking about. But then, like, even if you listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, they can still have their own, like, biases and agendas, right? I'll tell you my theories about, like, why you should program a certain way. And most other programmers will call me fucking insane and be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? So it's like... How do you make decisions in a world where everyone's fucking lying to you, or they're not even lying to you, they're just lying to themselves, right? Where it's like, they're not lying to you, but they're lying to themselves, or like their worldview is very slanted by their politics. Like, how do you make good decisions in a world full of bias, right? And I think a lot of what it comes down to is most of us just make decisions based on whatever belief works best for our self-interest, you know? So, like, if you eat meat, you're going to be like, whoa, God gave us dominion over the animals, and that's why I eat meat, because it's not wrong, right? And then if you don't eat meat, you're like, I'm not a fucking murderer like you meat eaters. Like we're smart enough to not be violent like nature, right? Nature's violent, but they're not like as high of a level of, they're lower consciousnesses, right? And they can't be as responsible as us humans because we're so smart, so we can afford to not be violent and cruel. But in nature, the animals don't have a choice, but we have a choice to not be violent, so let's not be violent. Okay, so if I am actually a balanced person, then I should be able to argue both of those points so well that you don't know if I'm a vegetarian or a meat eater right now. But I haven't actually told you my opinion. My opinion is that I'm okay with being a serial killer for cows, right? Like, stop trying to say, like, the human condition, part of the human condition is no one wants to think that they're evil, right? That you're totally good and every decision you make is on the side of good. Why? Why do you have to be good, right? Why can't you just say that there is good and evil within you, and not all parts of you are good, and that's okay, right? Like, it doesn't matter how good or evil you are, you have to look out for yourself because you're the only one who's going to look out for yourself. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, right? But it's like, I think you're deluded if you think that every decision you make is good, right? Like, it's okay to just admit to yourself that, you know what, I'm a bad person in some ways, right? I don't have empathy for cows, right? I don't have enough empathy for cows to stop eating them, and so I am going to continue mass slaughtering cows and eating them and consuming them, right? I'm okay with that, right? All the other meat eaters just want to, like, morally justify it. I'm not going to morally justify it. I'm just going to say I'm okay with being evil. If that makes me evil, I'm fine. Anyways. 9 here. 9 was, what was 9? Let's go look at 9 again. Okay, so 9 is gonna mirror it vertically and then blend it with itself. Okay. So we really should have put, like, the name of this, right? So mirror, like, we got to get better at the formatting that we're using here. Right, but you know, it takes a while to get a convention of like, oh, how are we gonna format all this bullshit, right? Like, hey, shouldn't there be like a little space after this? Like, you know what I mean? Or maybe we don't, right? Because all these already have display names, so why do we have to put the display name in the documentation? Because we could procedurally do that, right? And not all of these have that. Yeah, I don't know. Right? Let's not worry about it. Let's just say what it does, right? Or we don't care, right? Right? Or maybe we don't. Maybe we say that, oh, maybe we're just a little bit inconsistent and we just don't worry about it, right? Maybe, like, sometimes we're like, oh yeah, this time we'll kind of like do this and whatever. Mirrors the image. So this kind of like by okay, hold on. Let's make sure that's true. 33. 32. It may do more than that. Because this tiles as well. So it might also, actually, All right, so is this less than 32 lines? So this is the first line. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, that's less than 32. It fits. Okay, so then we're going to put these here like this. And I have to go, but I want to make sure this compiles before I pause the video. So we have this documentation here. And that's filter number 9. So here's filter number 9. We're going to take this documentation right here. We're going to paste that in there like that. And then we really want the JavaScript and the C code to compile. But we're just going to pray that, you know, that as we're cutting and pasting, that we did the JavaScript correctly. So we will compile the C version. And as long as the C code is compiling, we will assume that we got the JavaScript right. If the C code does not compile because of the changes we made, then we're going to fix the C code, and then wherever we made the mistake in the C code, we're going to assume that mistake also happened in the JavaScript, and we're going to fix it in the JavaScript. I know people are like shaking their head at me, being like, oh, you should just transpile. Yeah, in a perfect world, sure, but it's not a perfect world. Reality gets in the way, you know? Okay, so that's good to me. I'm liking that. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to pause the recording and hope we don't lose our 2 hours of footage, because if my computer crashes or something by the time we get back. So I'll be back. Hello, I'm back, and it's been 24 hours, and oh god, we have a bunch of terminals showing. Oh, let's hope that none of these are incriminating and going to dox us or something. Oh, maybe we should have worried of... Oh, well, let's not worry about it. Nobody's going to watch this. What's this? Spinlock, compile script here. Okay, so we were documenting the different filters, right? And we're trying to get up to the 60 here, because we're trying to document like 10 filters a day and have all the documentation done at the end of the video, right? So we did mirror blend symmetric over here, and it looks like what we need to do now is we need to go compile the application again and give it a run and take a look at the other filters. Now we don't really have to compile it, because what we could be doing is we could find a copy of PHOSIMP that is new enough that it has those filters. And since we're very early on in the filter list, we really don't have to be compiling this. I have a executable I could run right now. But since we are compiling this right now, we kind of do want to compile it, because we want to... I take that back, because we do want to make sure that as we're adding this documentation, that we don't... we don't want to break the syntax and make it so that it doesn't compile anymore. So 10, this 4 square duplicate, right? It's just sizing the image down to 1/4 of its surface area by dividing, you know, each axis by half, and then it's pasting it. And you'll notice that it doesn't loop around, right? Because it is resizing the pixels. There's also a filter called 137, which will do something that appears to be the same. Not 137, 138. 138 appears to do the same thing, right? But it's not doing the same thing. It's actually redistributing the pixels. And so it looks like it's doing the same thing, but it's not. Now, why can it appear to do the same thing but not be doing the same thing? Well, it's because pixels that are next to each other tend to be the same color. So if we take 4 pixels in a 2x2 area that are close to each other, and we redistribute them to the left, the top left, the top right, the bottom left, and the bottom right, right? And we keep on doing that, the statistics just work out that we're going to have similar looking images. Now, I guarantee that each one of these tiles, even though they look the same, they are not the same, right? There's slight differences with them, right? Anyways, with that said, let's talk about 10. Let's go put this over on the other screen here, and let's go find the source code here. Okay, so 10, what we're going to do here is we're going to copy paste all this code right here, and we're going to nuke the inside, and then we're going to do the same thing over here, right? So over here, we're going to copy paste all that code, and we're going to nuke the inside, and then we're going to put a 10 here, right? So this is number 10, filter number 10, and then this filter here, what was the display name? The display name was what? 4 square duplication, okay? So I don't know if I really want to write the title like that, but I've been doing it. Okay, so resizes the image down. Right. 138, I believe. 138 was the lossless version, yeah. Okay, something like that. Use 138 for a lossless version of this filter, right? Okay, so now that we have this documentation right here, we're gonna go paste it right here. Okay, so now let's go bring this down and let's go to the next thing, right? So we're on 11 now. So 4 square axial mirror. And so this right here is actually designed to be lossy, and there's something about mirroring it that makes it not lossy. How do I know this? Oh, I went into the source code. I went in the source code because I knew that I didn't like write it to be looping around like this. I did not write this to loop around. Like, I don't know why it loops around. But you notice that it is lossy, right? It like loses some information because we never loop back to the original image, but yet we loop back. And that is pretty shocking. Now, I do think that maybe if we do like filter 22, and then we go back to 11, we might be able to figure out more stuff about what's going on here, right? So we use 11 the first time, and we notice that we get all red, right? Everything is all red. And why is that? Why is that important? Why does that give me some insight here, right? Well, if we do 22, and a filter that actually does this losslessly, that's designed to do this losslessly, like 1111 instead of 11, we see we don't just get red, right? We get red, green, blue, and white, but you see that we have the same geometry here, where we have flipping on the X, flipping on the Y, and then flipping on the XY, right? Flipping on the X with green, flipping on the Y with blue, and then flipping on X and Y with the white, right? So you see this thing that's going on here, right? And it loops back. That is very much the same thing that is happening with not 10, but with 11, right? With 11, it's the same thing with that geometry, but we're only getting red, right? So the pixels are being redistributed differently, right? So what am I talking about redistributing the pixels, right? Well, 22. If we do 22 here, right, when you use 605 to zoom in, because you might not know what you're looking at and why I'm concerned with that red, green, blue, but if you use 605 to zoom in after using 22, right, you're going to see, oh, okay, now maybe you see kind of what's going on here, right? That 22 filter is converting all of the pixels to a solid blue, a solid green, or a solid white. Solid, right? That is the only color channel that is active, but it is active at different intensities, which you can't really tell here, but it is active at different intensities, because if it wasn't, then, you know, we wouldn't have all these different shades, right? Okay. Okay, so anyways, so on 11 is basically 4 square duplication, but symmetrical. So, and this is called 4 square axial mirror. So what we're going to do here is, once again, we're going to take this code, right? We're going to paste it. We're going to nuke the center. We're going to name this to 11. We're going to take this, okay? We're going to paste it. We're going to rename this to 11, and we're going to nuke this. And then we're going to start writing our documentation. Okay, so this is 4 square axial filter 10, right? So that's what this is. And I don't know why I'm indenting. Why am I indenting all of a sudden? Oh god, we're not doing this right. So this is correct, and this is me being drunk and doing it wrong, right? So we don't want to do this. Like, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? How do we want to do this? I don't think this documentation by any means is going to be perfect, but we need to try. We need to at least try, right? This will compile in C code because it's going to concatenate this into one long string, but that is not what we want to do, right? We actually wanted to do something like this, right? And then we'll kind of move this over like that, and then we'll go put that over there like that. So over here, same thing, right? So this is number 10. This is also number 10. We're going to move that over. We're going to put the characters at the beginning of the quote, and then we're going to shave off a little bit of this to line that up. And then also, right, see, we're missing the quote, we're missing the comma at the beginning here, right? So we need to get rid of this comma here. We need to get rid of this comma here. And then we need to continue with our business over here. But we know that our business is kind of not businessing. We want to go like this. Okay? And that lines up with that, right? Okay. Foursquare axial mill filter 10. Let's just not do that. Let's put that there. Okay. So this is okay, so if you want a lossless version, there is a lossless version, right? And that's that filter right there. So I'm going to make a note of that. And then we're going to take this chunk of data right here. And this is 11. So Foursquare axial. Here's where 11 is. So we're going to put that right there. Okay. So now, before we get ahead of ourselves, we want to make sure that everything's going to compile. And just glancing at this, the answer is no, right? Because we forgot this quote mark here, and we forgot this quote mark here, right? Okay, so let's go, there's no clear, what am I talking about? R for reset. Let's go recompile and make sure that we haven't done any screw-ups here. And I see that this is going to keep me busy for quite a while, huh? But if we really want to do this documentation, then this is what we have to do. So, meh. Character blah blah blah, line 602. So 602 right here. I don't really see a problem there. That looks fine to me. So what the... Oh, you know what? We haven't saved it yet, right? We made that fix, and then we were like, didn't save it. We were like, we saw the problem, we fixed it, we didn't save it. Okay. So now, if we do this, it should compile. And then we're going to move on to filter 12. And we're going to see what's going on with that. Okay, so filter 12, let's go look at that. Okay, filter 12 is debug. It's a debug for filter 16. And it's just, it's the destination pizza slices. It's just coloring the destination pizza slices. So, yeah. So, let's take this. Let's copy this. Let us delete the chunk in the middle. This is going to be 12. That's going to be 12 as well. And this is a mistake. We don't want to cut and paste like we just did there, right? Because the syntax between the C code and the JavaScript is different, right? So we have to cut, paste, refactor twice a little bit there. Okay. So now I just closed the executable. I'm not going to recompile it. I'm just going to open up a copy that I already have. And 12 was what? 12 was quadrant pizza multiply. Okay. So knowing that, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to write okay, and this is okay. Okay, so that's my explanation of what this filter is. We need to put these closing quotes on this side here. And then over here, we have the commas and opening quotes, missing a comma at the beginning because that's proper syntax. So that's filter 12. Okay, so now we want to just make sure it runs. So each time we do this, we just want to make sure we haven't injected a syntax error. Now, the reason why I'm kind of paranoid about that is with C code especially, if you inject a syntax error, your whole compilation can blow up and you may have no clue where the original syntax error is coming from, which I wish that wasn't the case, but that can happen. Okay, so now we're on to filter 13 here. Okay, let's look at use 13, what we got. So 13 is the same thing, but it's using division instead of multiplication, right? I see it's also using, it looks like CMYK, but I can't be sure of that because red the complement to red would be what, right? Red, if you get rid of red, right, by dividing, if you're dividing the red, then you're left with green and blue, which is going to be cyan, and we have cyan up there, right? And if we look at the previous, that top thing was red, right? So, and this is multiplication, right? So, I would say I don't really care about this filter that much. So I think what we'll do is we'll copy, we'll paste. And I don't know what we called this one. This is 13 here. Okay. Okay. Um,
I thought you were drinking gin like that.
Jim? Oh, there is some alcohol here.
No, I thought you were drinking like just like sucking it down like that.
Ah.
Like, oh god.
No, I have it in a glass.
Oh yeah.
I like quadrant pizza multiply, but use division to create the highlighting of the different pizza slice sections. I have no clue what is actually being divided, but I see that this filter, I see that with this filter we get cyan, yellow, magenta, which complements red, green, the red, green, blue of the previous filter. Which makes sense, because location of Okay, something like that. Now we gotta make sure this is under 32 characters, right? The whole reason these arrays are 32 is because it's like 32 lines of text, right? So if we go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we are under 32, so this ramble is not too long, right? So that's 13, and then we'll put this here as well. And then once again, I'm just going to keep on compiling, right? And then we're going on to filter 14. And this is going to take forever. And is my recording software still working? And how many hours have we been going? We're going like 2 hours. So this isn't quite technical debt that we have going on here, but it's okay. So 13. What do we got here? How about 14? We're on to 14 now, right? 14 is still a debug thing. 15 is still a debug thing. Okay. So 14 is doing something. I don't care. It's a debug filter. I don't know what's going on there, right? Oh, you know what? I think it's multiplying a different value with each index. I think it's assigning a unique index to each pizza slice. And then each pizza slice needs like a unique index, right? Because it needs a unique ID for however I'm doing the code. And it is, it's taking a negative version of the pixel, and it is doing a weighted average with the negative version of the pixel. And that weighted average is like 100% for maybe the first index and 0% for the last index. That's what it looks like. So I'll write something like that. All right, so that's 14. And this is also 14. Okay. And so this is filter 14, right? Another debug filter for working up to 16. It assigns a unique index to every single triangular pizza slice, and then does a weighted blend between the positive and negative versions of the pixel. It looks like the pizza slice with the lowest index gets the negative version of pixel 100% weighted, and the pizza slice with the highest index gets the positive version of the pixel 100% weighted. But I could have it backwards, and I don't care enough to review the source code and find out. Like, I really don't give a fuck, right? It's a debug filter, right? I'm gonna write some documentation based on what I know about it from what I can remember from last year. But that was last fucking year, right? So, the thing is like, we'll work on the documentation, but like, how much is this documentation actually going to help us, right? I don't think it's going to help us that much, so we're not going to... Oh my god, we have to do this in a whole work section, because if we want to keep this whole series up, if like every video is 10 filters, then we have to clean up the technical debt that we have, right? So 15 is almost the correct filter, right? 15 is almost the correct filter. The only thing that it doesn't do is that 16 is actually correctly, it's correctly mirroring the different slices so that each slice fits together, right? You see that the top left is 4 pizza slices, right? The top right is 4 pizza slices, right? The bottom left is 4 pizza slices, and the bottom right is 4 pizza slices, right? So there's 4 identical slices in each one of those quadrants, but the slice is mirrored and flipped and rotated so that it all fits together, right? Does that make sense? For 16, right? For 16, the final version of the filter, that's what it does. But for 15, 15 forgets to mirror it, right? 15 paces the identical pizza slice 4 times and rotates it, but it doesn't do the mirroring or the flipping, and so it doesn't fit together, right? That's why I got that seam there, right? Whereas 16 doesn't have a seam. Now you can mix and match that together, and you can get some interesting things to happen, right? But, yeah. Okay, so we know 15 is the last debug filter working up to 16, right? That's kind of what's going on there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to paste this. We're going to rename this to 15. And we're going to nuke this source code here, right? Then we're going to go over here. We're going to take this. We're going to paste it. Rename it to 15. And then we're going to nuke the source code. Okay. So, the last debug filter working... So this is the last debug filter working up to 16. It pastes every single pizza. It slices up the original image into 4 pizza slices. Okay, so I think that's a good explanation. So let's take that text. Let's go over here and paste it. So, and then it looks like, I don't know how that happened. Okay, the last debug filter working up to 16, it slices up the original image into 4 pizza slices. Those 4 pizza slices are downsized to a quarter of their size. Then for each quad of the output image, we stamp one of those pizza slices 4 times. So looking at each quad of the resulting image, you should see the same triangular chunk of pixels stamped 4 times at different rotations. The only thing filter 15 does not do that filter 16 does is flip the stamped pizza slices on the X and Y axis so that all identical copies fit together seamlessly within each quadrant, right? That sounds good to me. Okay, so now we're going to do the last filter, the last documentation, so filter 16 here, right? Okay, so let's take that, let's go cut and paste this, rename it to 16, so we're going to paste it, we're going to nuke the inside, and then we're going to name this 16. Okay. So this is, okay. Um, Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we are. That's a little bit long. So I don't have room to write that explanation. If you know, you know, I guess. So the reason why the word hentai is in there is because the idea was to create like the geometry using the line work from hentai. It actually looks actually really good. Good line work in, good line work out. But the thing is that we're kind of running out of room there. So if you know, you know, I guess, right? If you somehow stumbled upon this video, now you know that the reason it's called hentai F is because we used. I had the plan to kind of procedurally generate interesting geometrical auto tile set patterns and have the input information for the generation of these auto tile set patterns, have the input for that be hentai, like the actual like black and white hentai that you find on like those comic sites or the manga sites. But yeah, now you know. Okay, so let's make sure that this runs. I say now you know, but like no one's gonna watch this. We're like 2 hours and 35 minutes in. Okay, so 16. Okay. So 17 here. Do you want to do 17? I think that I don't really want to make like a 10-hour goddamn video doing all the documentation for something nobody's gonna fucking watch, right? I think that we're putting in a lot of time. And we do want to at least put in the time and explain these filters here, 51 to 60. But I think if we keep on trying to document all this shit here, we'll be here forever, right? We made the mistake of not documenting, you know, these filters when we kind of first started this video series. But if we we'll try to catch up a little bit here and a little bit there, I guess. But if we keep on fucking doing this, we're going to be here forever, right? So we have documentation. Did we do this last time? So we had like 49, 50, and so we're at 51 to whatever. Okay, and then if we go scroll up here, do we have the 50 to whatever here? Do we have that too? So we can just start fucking doing this? Because I really don't want to do this. I'm kind of jaded because I know that people are asking for this, but like no one's gonna fucking watch it, right? And you know no one's gonna fucking watch it because you can see the views on YouTube, right? You can see people asking for shit, and then it's like sometimes people say they want something, but they don't really want it, right? They say they want it, but they don't really want it. And I know that sounds pretentious, but we have the numbers, right? We have the numbers to prove that people are asking for things that they don't really want. And I wish that wasn't the case, because it's like, what, you calling everyone liars? Yeah, I kind of am, you know? It's like, you know what it is? It's that sometimes you think you want something when you just, like, ask for it in passing, but that's just, like, a thought that came up to you in a split second. You didn't really think it out that well, right? I don't know. So, okay, so 51 here. Okay, so 51. Okay, something like that. And at some point we got rid of this. Oh no, it's because we scrolled. Why am I indented weirdly again? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so that is 51. Okay, we'll paste that 51 there. And then let's just run it, make sure it works, okay? So we're 1/9 of the way, right? We're 1/9 of the way. So why don't we just keep on doing that? And yeah, there's some filters that aren't documented, but one step at a time. Oh my god. So we want to make sure there's no syntax errors when we do this. Okay, so 52. 52 is the glass block filter. Okay. So we're gonna go copy paste. And we're gonna delete the stuff in the center. And then we're gonna go take this. We're gonna go copy paste. We're gonna change this number right here. We're gonna delete the stuff in the center, right? Okay. So this is Okay. Glass block filter divides the image into a grid of cells, and then for each cell samples adjacent cells, downsizes those adjacent cells, and packs them into the central cell. I don't remember the exact sample pattern used, but as I'm visualizing it now, it would be easiest to sample the 4 kitty corner cells and then scale down those 4 kitty corner cells by 1/4 their area and pack them into the central cell. But I really don't know if that is what is happening. I swore I made a Reddit post explaining this one, right? So that's the glass block filter. That's the documentation for it. That's what we're keeping there. Okay. So now we have the glass block filter. That's filter 52, right? Filter 52 is explained. And then we're going to move on to 53, right? We're going to run this. We're going to go run 53. And then we're just going to keep on doing this until we get through all the filters, and then we're going to end the video because I'm sick of this. And it's been going for like 3 hours. Okay, so 53 is that glass block filter? No, that was... Oh, God. That's not 53. That's 52. 52 is the glass block filter. Okay, well, that works, but holy fuck, what's wrong with my brain there? Well, I did drink alcohol when I got up this morning. 51 and 52. That's correct. Why the fuck is this 53? Why is this 51 and this is 53? Because I'm not fucking paying attention. Okay, that syntax is correct there. Let's get rid of some of this space here. Okay. So then we want to copy and paste and rename things. So we're going to paste. This is going to become 53 here. And we're going to nuke that, right? And then over here, we're going to copy. We're going to paste, and this is going to be 53 now. And then we're going to start writing our documentation. But once again, we actually have to run this to make sure it works. And, you know, I just closed the thing, so I'm being stupid here. Yeah, I can see how, like, having a faster computer can actually make you more efficient. For example, yes, in a perfect world, I would have a better workflow where I don't have to wait for the compilation, but it's not a perfect world, and I am waiting for the compilation, right? And so if my computer was faster, I would spend less time. I would waste less time, right? Okay, so pixel column shuffle left, okay? So go over here, find this. Okay. Right, so I don't remember which column goes in which direction, but one goes in one direction, one goes in the other direction, good enough for me. Now, the next filter is like the inverse. It's the shuffle right. So let's paste this, and this is going to be 54. And then we could delete all of this up to here, and then we just say right. And then we could copy all this. So we're on 54, so we're going to take this stuff here. We're going to rename this to 54. And then we'll just nuke all of this because we're going to copy from the other file once we're done. So this is the inverse. So this is the inverse of the previous filter. So pixel column shuffle right. The inverse of previous filter, it shuffles the columns in the reverse direction and can be used to undo the effects of the previous filter, right? Exactly which direction things are going, I don't fucking know, I don't care, right? 54, done. Okay, so 55 is likely a vertical version, yeah. Pixel row, shuffle top. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this code here, we're gonna paste that, we're gonna say, oh, that's 55. Okay. And this is pixel row, shuffle top, right? All right, we have to make sure we have that closing quote. And then this is 55 here, right? So 53, 54, and we forgot 54, 55. Okay. So we need to paste this. So this is 55. And the documentation is going to go in here, right? So shuffle top. Okay. So now we're going to copy this. We're going to paste this. This is going to be 56. We'll nuke all this. Bottom. And then we have this 55 here. We have this is going to be 56. We'll nuke everything. Okay. Okay, so this filter cancels out the previous filter. That is true. Okay. So now what are we doing? Well, now we're on to 57. So we're going to go 57 here. We're going to go over here, and we're going to copy paste. And we're going to say 57 over here. Okay. So 57. Oh boy, 57. Let's go look at that. So first of all, 57 doesn't appear to do anything, but I guarantee it does. It's just that this image is very pixelated, right? So if we use 56 first, right? If we use 56 here and we stagger these pixels, right? And we use like 53 and we stagger the pixels a bit more, right? And then we use what? 57, right? 57. Okay. 57 is definitely doing something, right? And I'm pretty sure what it's doing, it says kitty corner alpha co 2x2. I think it is... I think it's just swapping kitty corner pixels within 2x2 tile chunks, right? And that's why, because it's not rotating them, right? Because if it was rotating them, it would take 4 moves to go back to where you were. And that's what I'm seeing 2 moves. So it looks like it's swapping the kitty corner pixels within a 2x2, right? Okay. 57 taken care of. Okay. So let's go on to 58. So it looks like we closed the program again, or it crashed or something. So 58, 59, and 60, and then we're out of here? Yeah, okay. Okay. So, 58 is what we're on next. Okay. So, quadrant font stamp test. Okay, got it. So, we're going to take this code, this documentation code here, we're going to paste it. And then, name that to 58. We're going to take this code, we're going to paste it, we're going to nuke the center. We're going to call this one 58. A filter designed to debug the original font stamping code that is used within the central Okay, so this might actually be over the 32 limit. So we have to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that is almost over the limit. It is concerning amount. So I'm going to, usually I wouldn't do this. I say that, but I totally would. We do need to, for this one, it needs a checksum. This one needs a checksum. It does make the code look a little bit dirty, but we need to actually make a checksum here to make abs, because when I glance at it, I can't glance at this and know exactly how many letters that is. If you can do that, you're a genius, but I can't do that. So we need to put in a little manual checksum here so that at a glance, we can verify that the code is correct, right? When I'm looking at my code, I want to be able to, with my eyes on it, at a glance, be like, have that confidence that it is correct, right? And without this numbering here, I don't have the confidence. With this numbering here, and I see, oh, it goes up to 29, and we have 32 characters, right? That gives me confidence that this is correct, right? So now that we have this commentary for filter 58 right here, we're going to put it over here. We're just going to paste it. We're going to keep that same checksum here, but we have the syntax for JavaScript here, whereas the syntax for C code is right here. Okay, so now we have two more filters. We have 59 and 60, and then we get the fuck out of here, right? We might do like a very quick review, maybe try to end the video by making something interesting, but we want to end the video here, right? We want to end the video after we're done. We have like over 1,000 filters, so this is going to be something that's going to just take forever to do, right? Okay, so we did 58, right? Okay, what about 59? What's 59? That's not 59. 59, okay. 59 is some type of gradient ramp filter, high key and low key, right? I don't know what it is. It's some type of weird negative, right? So we have to actually look at the source code for that one. Do I want to look at the source code? No, I do not want to fucking look at the source code right now. I just want to be done. But let's put some breakpoints here, right? Let's color this so that we remember where we were, right? F2, F2, right? Save and save. And then PHOSIMP, and it's going to be 59, 059. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to search for PHOSIMP 59, and we're going to go find the source code for this, right? Okay, so we see the display name here, the map IVIA, right? What does that stand for? I don't fucking remember, okay? But we're going to go look at the source code. Okay, so we have 59, and it's kind of interesting that 59, I would have thought that 59 and 60, sorry, 58 and 59? No, yeah, 59 and 60. I thought 59 and 60 would be like variations of the same function. I'm gonna guess it's just cut and paste code. Maybe whatever's going on here is very simple, and we just cut, paste, and change it around. Oh, 59 and 60, right? Yeah, because 58 we just did. So 59, and then 60. Oh yeah, so they're very small, and it looks like there's probably like one thing that's been changed and the other things haven't been changed. I'm gonna guess it's this thing because it says subtract 1, and we know that one thing is getting dark and one thing is getting light. So I'm gonna guess this right here is the difference between these two functions, and this average is probably the same. I don't know for sure, but let's scroll up. Okay, this average dividing by 4, we have the sum, but we see that here we're adding. So I don't know why we're avoiding divide by 0 errors. Oh, because we want... I think here we're just being stupid talking about this divide by 0 because we're not dividing by 0, right? 0 divided by 4 is not a divide by 0 error, right? So that looks like me being a dum-dum. But we're going to keep it that way, right? Like, if we have a bug in the filter, we just keep it that way, right? And it looks like we did the same thing. We did a subtract by 1 before taking the sum as well. So, well, actually, subtracting by 1 is actually a huge difference, right? Because, right, the visible spectrum for red, green, blue, and alpha, right? It's -1 to +1. So if we're subtracting 1, that's actually subtracting a huge number, right? So we're subtracting 1 from all the color channels. So here's our sum, and we're adding everything together, okay? So we're taking a sum of everything. We subtract everything by 1, and then we sum it together, right? Subtract, and then here we're also subtracting everything by 1, right? So subtracting everything by 1, and then also taking the sum of everything that has been subtracted by 1, and then we're averaging it. And then after we average it, we're putting the 1 back on, right? And then I'm going to guess that this is kind of the opposite, right? So this is probably, instead of subtracting, we're adding everything by 1. We're adding everything by 1. We're getting the sum of what that is. We're averaging that out. And then... that's really fucking stupid. Okay, hold on. So R equals R plus 1. Averaging this out for some reason. Putting it back. Okay, we're putting it back, but, like, how the fuck does that work? We're not doing anything with this average. Okay, what the fuck is going on here? Is this 59? How does this filter do anything? Seriously. So this filter doesn't look correct. It looks like the average is not being used, right? We make the average and then we don't use it. And the red, green, blue, and alpha, we add 1, so red equals red plus 1. And then later, red equals red minus 1. So how the fuck is that doing anything? Like, really, like, I'm losing my mind here. Like, how the fuck does filter 59 do anything? Have I lost my mind? I mean, average is not used anywhere. The average is not used anywhere. Sum is used somewhere. H1 is RGBA. We see RGBA. We're adding 1, and then we're subtracting 1. How the fuck? Okay. Is that... Do we have the same what the fuck going on for 60 as well? So for 60 here, we have this average here. Once again, the average is not fucking used. Holy hell. Okay. How the... where are my IQ points? Because, like, I'm looking at it, and obviously I wrote it, right? And I'm like, I wrote it. I didn't write too much documentation, because it's dead fucking simple. And yet, it seems to obviously have a bug in it. It seems dead simple. It seems to have a bug in it, because where the fuck is this average used? And like, how? How the fuck does this... I don't understand how that works. So my question is, if we go look at the JavaScript version of the code, right? Do we make a transcription error? At one point, I was writing the JavaScript code first and then the C code. Now I usually write the C code first and then the JavaScript because you have type information in the C code, right? It's harder to write C code quickly because you have to think about that type information, but then transcribing it to JavaScript is much faster, right? So if we look at this version, here's the average. Once again, it's not fucking used. How the fuck? R equals R minus 1. Okay. And then we add 1. How the... My code is gaslighting me. Okay. So let's go look at this PHOSIMP 60. Is this PHOSIMP 60 actually used anywhere? Make pixels visible A1. Make pixels visible A2. Okay. So that is like a weird ass name. Like, are we... Okay, let's go look at that documentation, I guess. So map Ivia 1. Make pixels visible again 1. Map Vivia 2. Make pixels visible again 2. 2 filters attempting to make vanished pixels come back again by giving the excess alpha transparency values to the other pixels. Okay. So we're trying to partition the alpha. Like, if there is alpha, we're trying to zero... So this is telling me that what I'm supposed to be doing is I'm supposed to be zeroing out the alpha and distributing that missing alpha to the other color channels. That's what this is telling me that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Okay, that seems reasonable. I'm not against that. That's fine. That's a fine thing to do. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, are we missing like a buffer swap? Is this function like totally fucking fucked? Is it missing a buffer swap? Is this function just a piece of fucking shit? Like, I really don't want to fix it this late on in the game because it's like existed for a while. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking that this function is missing a buffer swap, and that maybe missing the buffer swap is causing it to do some really weird stuff, right? That's what I'm thinking. Because I don't know any other way. Okay, we're going to look at it again. So here's the sum of all channels, here's the average, right? Okay, so sum and average. Okay. Sum is calculated here, and then we get this average. The thing that's tripping me up here, okay, here's a buffer swap. There's a buffer swap here, okay. Here's our destination buffer. Red, green, blue, and alpha. And are we doing anything different with the alpha? So alpha equals alpha plus 1. Maybe there's clamping that's going on here. I think it might be just all the normalization going on here. Okay, I think it's just normalizing. I think this is the only thing that does anything. I think this is a glitchy filter. It's not written correctly. And we're going to have to create a non-fucked up version of this that actually does what I intended to do. That's what that looks like, right? Because it looks like what we're trying to do here is... I don't know why we're creating this sum. I mean, there's some interesting things we could do, but we're not like... Yeah, this doesn't do shit. This is the only thing that's doing anything. And so we get different things here, right? So normalize. So this is like if the red is going negative, then we make it positive, right? So this is really just this is like what I would call, it's like a high key negative. It's a high key negative where only the pixels that are below the midpoint of the color spectrum, of the visible spectrum. Pixels below the midpoint of the visible spectrum get inverted, and that's going to create a high key negative, right? And that's filter 59. And then I bet filter 60 here is the opposite way around. Yeah. If it's greater than 0, if it's out in the high key area, we're going to invert it, and that's going to create a low key negative. Okay. So I'm going to... So... won't fix now is so yeah, so we're going to say won't fix now is high key negative. And then over here, won't fix now is low key negative. Okay. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go write documentation for it. Is that how I wrote it? Let's go make sure that's how I wrote it. That's not how I fucking wrote it. God fucking damn. Okay. High key negative and then low key negative. How do we write low key negative? Or do we just not? Oh, we wrote low with 2 W's so that it would line up. Because I'm weird like that. Sure. Low key negative. Okay, low key negative. Tag. Okay. So filters 59. So, Okay, so that's the documentation for this right here. Okay. Okay, so now that we have that, we need to make sure that documentation is added to both the C code and the JavaScript code versions. So in the so here we see that we have a 59 and there's a 59 here, right? There's a 59 here and there's a 59 here. So this is the won't fix now is high key negative, right? And then if we scroll down, we're at 60, right? So we're at 60 here. So if we scroll down on our other monitor here, we see 60 here. And if we scroll down, we see this won't fix now is low key negative. And here it is not here yet, right? Okay. So low key negative. Okay, so now going back to the original code, these were filters 59 and 60, so we're like done once we do these. That's nice. Okay, so we're gonna take all this code here, we're gonna copy paste it, and we are going to. Oh, my checksum was kind of wrong there, right? I'm not gonna fucking worry about it though. Okay. So then we'll use our breakpoints here, get over here. Okay, copy, let's paste. We're gonna get rid of the stuff in the middle. And this is 59. And 59, I believe, is the lower high key negative. It's the high key, right? Because it was high and then low was spelled really weird, right? So the first thing is the high key negative. Now we can check. No, let's just believe in ourselves and we'll check after we write the code, okay? So, won't fix, bug is now feature filter. Number 59 is actually a how the fuck? Oh, I see. Okay, so that is our high key negative, and that's 59. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. Okay. So then 60 is the same thing, right? 60 is the same kind of bullshit happening. So we gotta go do that as well. Okay, so let's copy all this code. Okay. 60. I'm gonna copy all this code. It's gonna be a 60. Accidentally made a low-key negative. Okay, so high key negative and low key negative is what we have, right? Now we're gonna have to visually verify that really quick, right? Or we can verify it in the commentary as well, make sure all the commentary is looking good. So here's our random blabby blab here. Put that random blabby blab right there, that's number 60. Okay, so now let's go look at that. And I don't know why that code is wrong, right? Having written it a year ago, there's no way to know like why I screwed that code up. We know we screwed it up. We know that the filters are symmetrical and they're interesting, but they're not doing what I set out to do, right? Okay, so 59 is that low-key negative. No, that's actually high key negative, right? 59 is definitely high key negative, and then 60 is probably low key negative, okay? So it's high key negative and then low key negative, right? So we got that reversed. Because low key, because this is darker, right? Okay, so that means that we got to flip these, right? So it's high and then low, right? Oh no, this says high key. And this says low key. Okay, we got that correct? Okay. Now I gotta run our code again because we've lost our goddamn mind. Okay, so we're gonna open up the software again, and we just need to make sure that we have these in the correct order, right? That we don't have the documentation flipped. We know that 59 and 60 are high key and low key negatives, but we need to make sure that the ordering is correct. And my God, did my fucking double click not work? Okay, come on, let's fucking open this. Okay, so going over here. So 59. 59 is definitely high key, right? Because it's fucking bright. And if you look at 59 here, this says that it is a high key negative. Okay, high key negative, so that's good. So that means that 60 should say that it's a low key negative. 60 indeed is low key. We see low key here. We see low key here. So yeah, low key. We mentioned that it's low key and high key negative. Okay, so that means we have all the documentation done, right? We've made all the filters. We've documented all the filters, right? So for this video, we were going to say document 51 through 60, right? So let's go review, right? So 51 here. We divide the image into cells, and on the outer 1 pixel border of that cell, we make the pixel negative. And that's going to create a grid of lines where each line is 2 pixels thick and it's negative, right? But there's more than just that, because on the inside of the cell, when we inset by 1 pixel on each cell, we draw a square, and the color of that square is solid. And the solid color of that square is the average value of all of the pixels that wireframe square is touching, right? Which you can kind of see in there. Like if we go 605 and we zoom in a bit, and then we like put a gradient ramp on it, you can see those average value squares kind of hanging out right there, right? You can kind of see them there, right? Okay, so 51 I think is well covered. Let's go on to 52. So 52 here is the glass block filter. We're dividing the image into cells. And then I don't know exactly how we're sampling the cells, but one possible way that we might be doing it, judging by what I'm kind of seeing over here, like right here with these eyes right here, it looks like this right here is our cell, right? That like we have this cell, we divide the cell into 4 quadrants. And then what we do is we sample kitty corner, top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. We sample the 4 kitty corner cells that are near that cell, and then we paste them into here. Now, I don't know if that's actually how it's working. I don't think that's how it's working, because I remember I thought this was based on like a 3x3 grid, but being based on a 3x3 grid is also kind of confusing, because 3x3 does not really go in evenly when we're dealing with powers of 2. But it's something like that. It's something like that. I don't know exactly how it's working. I don't really care enough to document it further than that. I get the idea of what it's doing, right? Okay, so glass block filter is 52, on to 53. 53 is splitting the image into columns. Odd columns go one way, even columns go the other way. And the columns are 1 pixel thick, and we move by 1 pixel for each column shift, right? Okay, so 54 is just the opposite direction, right? So it's still going into columns. Odd columns go one way, even columns go the other way. Which one's which? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is that they complement each other. We can get the original image back. 55 is the row version of what we just looked at. 55, right? We split it into odd and even columns. Odd columns go one way. Sorry, not columns. Rows. We split into rows. Odd and even rows go one way and the other way, right? Then for 56 here, it's the inverse, right? So we split it into 1 pixel thick rows. And odd rows go one way, even rows go the other way by 1 pixel per invocation, and it can inverse the other filter that we just used. That's 56. Okay, so oops. So 57 here. Okay, 57 appears to do nothing, but that's because it's operating on tiles that are 2 by 2 pixels thick. So we have to like shift around the pixels a little bit before we can see that filter actually do something, right? So if we shift this around and then we go use filter 57 here, now you can see a little bit going on. So I'm pretty sure that all this does is it divides the image into tiles. Each tile is 2 by 2 pixels, and it just swaps the kitty corner pixels. That's all 57 is doing there, right? 57, we might be able to verify what 57 does by doing 22. We do 22, and then we do 57, and then we do 605 and we zoom in. I think that actually is verifying it. So if we zoom in about this much, we see red, green, blue, white. Red, green, blue, white, okay? And then that was 57, right? That was 57 was this one. Red, green, blue, white. Okay, so let's do 22. And let's do 605 now. Remember, it was red, green, blue, white. So let's zoom in. Is it red, green, blue, white now? No, it's white, blue, green, and red here in the middle. So yeah, it is swapping those kitty corners. That is what it's doing. So, and that was 57, right? Just dividing the image into a grid and swapping those kitty corners. Okay, it's 57. Okay, so now we're gonna go into 58. Okay, 58 is our text stamper, right? We're stamping our text for the UI, for these tooltips. You see these tooltips that show up? To center them, we had to make these glyphs kind of straddle the refresh grid. And because it straddles the refresh grid, we have to stamp each glyph in quarter chunks, right? So this S here is stamped 4 times for the top left chunk of the S, the top right chunk, the bottom left chunk, and the bottom right chunk. They're all stamped separately. So each glyph is stamped in actually 4 calls. And that makes the glyph stamping very non-trivial. I wanted to test the glyph stamping, so I made this filter here that just stamps the glyphs. And when it stamps a chunk, right, it divides the image into cells. It stamps a glyph chunk where it's going to select a certain glyph, and then it's going to select one of the 4 subcells of that glyph, and then it's going to stamp it, and it's going to stamp it as the average value of whatever color is in that cell, right? And it gets this kind of very painterly look. That's 58. Okay, so 59 right here. 59 right here is our our high key negative, right? So it's going to look at all the pixels. If the pixel is below 0.0, which is our neutral gray luminosity, if the pixel is below 0.0, the neutral gray luminosity, it's going to flip it. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything to it. Then 60 here is our high key negative, right? Sorry, not the high key negative. Oh my god, this is the low key negative, right? So the low key negative, right? It's called low key because it's darker, right? How do we make it darker? We scan through all the pixels. If the pixel is above 0.0, so the pixel is on the bright end of the spectrum. If the pixel is on the bright end of the spectrum, we invert the pixel. And now we have a low key negative, and that's 60, right? 60, if we do it over and over again, it doesn't do anything because now it's already stabilized, right? And then for 59, right, it works once, and then after we do 59 more times, it doesn't do anything. The image has stabilized. The math kind of makes sense as to why you can only use this filter once, and then doesn't do anything interesting after that. So I have described all of these filters. I've just described all these filters. Let's try to make something interesting now that we've described all these filters. So I'm going to go reset the image, and I'm going to try to use... I'm going to try to do... So I'm thinking it might be interesting to do that high key negative. And then what would happen if we like blur it, right? And then we do 59, which is the other negative, right? And then we blur it on the other axis. Okay, and then we do 60, which is the other negative, right? Now I don't know if flipping between the blurs, like, is this just gonna blur it, or is there gonna be an interesting effect, right? If we blur it and then we do the other negative, so the 58, that was not the 58. That's 58, but I want to do 59. 59. Okay, then we're gonna blur it. Then we're gonna do 60. That was not 60. Okay, so my finger is just slipping and all over the place, and I guess that means we're not making what we thought we were gonna make because I can't handle the responsibility of pressing keys. Okay, so let's put a gradient ramp on that so we can see that. Let's use, I really like the glass block filter, and that's not the glass block filter. 52 is the glass block filter, right? And then let's do the high key negative again, or the low, that's low key negative. Okay, let's blur it. Let's do the 59, which is the low key negative, or the high key negative. Oh my god, I can't. Oh my god, today is not a good day for me. Okay, that looks kind of creepy, right? Let's do that filter 20. That's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted at all. I wanted 22. And now we have a problem on our hands because like everything is trash now, right? So we could like split this up and use 555, right? And try to get a little bit of color back in there. 272, where's our channel splitter, right? We could do 272. We could do 240. Then you could do like 273, try to put it back together. And then 137. We lost the color because I was a dumbass, right? Put a gradient ramp on that. And then, you know, blur that horizontally. Get rid of this bullshit here. 300 on top of that. And then put a gradient ramp on that. And I think I'm just going to call that a day, right? We got an interesting looking pattern. It's not the most awesome pattern that I've made, but it's kind of interesting, right? So go buy PHOSIMP on Steam. I have just described filters 51 to 60 for you in detail. There's that documentation you've been begging me for. PHOSIMP, 99 cents on Steam.